Hey everybody, long time no video lesson. How you doing today? I hope you're having a great weekend. This lesson is solving inequalities. This is straight up a review of Algebra 1, and if you know how to solve these inequalities, you don't need this video. But if you look at these inequalities and you're like, I could use a little refresher, these two examples are enough refresher for you. At least with what we're trying to pull off with this solving inequalities worksheet. So let's take a look at number 1 here. I have 8x plus 7 is less than or equal to 9. You solve these equations just like they were an equality. So there is a but the but actually does not come up in this problem because there's no negative numbers yet. Anyway, if I subtract 7 from both sides, I get 8x is less than or equal to 2, and then I divide both sides by 8, and I end up with x is less than or equal to 1/4. Now these problems will, actually a couple things. We need to answer in two separate ways, but let's get, we need to answer it in this way, a different way, and we need to graph it. So I'm going to graph it first. So I have 0, and I have 1/4. And those are the only two numbers you need to put onto your number line, 0 and whatever number you're going to use. And then in this case, because it's less than or equal to, you need to use a filled in circle, and it says x is less than 1/4, and the numbers that are less than 1/4 are in this direction. So that's what our graph looks like. Now, we're going to need to answer it like this, but then they're also going to ask us to answer it in interval notation, like we do when we answer with domain and range. And if you did that, it goes all the way to negative infinity. So negative infinity all the way up to positive 1/4. Infinity does not exist, so soft bracket. 1/4 does exist, so hard bracket. So you're going to be responsible for all of these different types of answers. Be prepared. All right, number 2. This one. Let's see. I would first subtract 8 from both sides, and that would give me 3 times 2 minus x is less than 2. I could either distribute the 3 or I could divide both sides by 3. I'm going to choose to divide both sides. No, wait. Doesn't matter. I think for the scope of this problem, I'm actually going to distribute the 3 in this particular case. So if I got a 6 minus 3x less than 2, then I subtract 6 from both sides, so I have negative 3x is less than negative 4. Now, this last step, this is where that trick comes in, or the thing that you need to remember, and that's that if you divide both sides by a negative number in an inequality, when you divide both sides by a negative, you need to flip over the inequality. And in this case, a negative divided by a negative is a positive. So x is greater than positive 4/3. And when I graph that on my number line, I include 0 and the number I need, which is 4/3. Because it cannot be equal to 4/3, you go with an open circle. It says x is greater than 4/3. So it's going to be the numbers that are pointing to the numbers that are greater than 4/3 on the number line. And then last but not least, if we answer it in interval notation like we did here, the answer starts at 4/3 and then works its way all the way to infinity, and it's not equal to either of them, so we go soft and soft on both of those. And you are responsible for all 3 of these answers. I'm done with this lesson. The last thing I want to do is, people don't really have a good understanding of why you want to flip the inequality when you divide by a negative. So I'm just going to spend this last minute explaining why is it when you divide by a negative you flip the inequality. Let's say I had 8 and 4, and let's see, what do I know about 8 and 4? 8 is greater than 4. Yeah. All right, now if I then took 8 greater than 4, and let's say I divided both sides of this inequality by negative 2. 4 divided by negative 2 is negative 4, and 4 divided by negative 2 is negative 2. And what's the story with negative 4 and negative 2? Negative 2 is greater than negative 4. So, because we divided by a negative number, that caused the inequality to need to flip around. That's the best explanation I have. If you divide by positive, that doesn't happen. If we started off with 8 and 4, and 8's greater than 4, if you divide both sides by just positive 2, you get 4 and you get 2, and 4 is still greater than 2. So we did not need to flip the inequality. So that's just a quick explanation as to why you do want to flip the inequality if you divide both sides by a negative. That was just solving inequalities. Make sure you tune into the next lesson, solving absolute value inequalities, because those are a little bit more crazy. Have yourself a good rest of the weekend, and I will see you on Monday morning. Bye, everybody.